Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Progressive Discussions. This is our, you might as well call it, our Pagan Christmas Special Part 2, Happy Holidays 2011 from Mega Life 21 and Newsletter Censored, because it happens to be, since we can't do this on Christmas Eve, it happens to be Wednesday, December 21st, 2011. 21st, right? 21. Yes. And welcome to Progressive Discussions, our holiday special, since Christmas Day is just 3 days away. It happens to be very rainy and foggy and overcast outside, and very damp. Excellent soup weather and hot Texas chili, hellfire chili. I'm James P. Madonna of Mega Life 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet. I'm here with my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir?
Fine, fine, fine.
Well, happy pagan Christmas. I sure love that second video that Mr. Ian Grenier, the great artist Ian Grenier, put on the internet. It's much better than the first video, which happened to be a little too right-wing fundamentalist, a little too holy roller to me.
For the first one, that big long one was great.
No, it was great, but the guy was, I mean, come on. Santa Claus is really Satan in disguise? Give me a break.
Saint Nick, Krampus.
Well,
Beelzebub.
But the thing is, he kept on pushing for donations throughout the video. He kept on plugging for now listen.
I didn't see that.
These are videos about the true history of Christmas, and the way everybody is brainwashed with this tradition and how it evolved into the over-commercialized, greedy holiday as that we know today. It all stems from paganism. All the traditions of Christmas stem from paganism. The second video was much more detailed and educational that I listened to. And of course, the Christmas Lie is available on the internet for you to listen to. Just go to Google, type in Mega Life 21, the Christmas Lie. Now, where can I begin? All right. Since the next Progressive Discussions is most likely going to be Happy New Year's, the countdown, Happy New Year's 2012, the infamous 2012 is very close. What I want to do here is pretty much shoot from the hip, do a reality check, and tell you exactly how it is. Unfortunately, our country, right now, everything that's happening in America is, of course, was prophesied in the Bible that the United States of America, which is the one of the modern day descendants of the cursed tribes of ancient Israel, correct? The cursed tribes or the lost tribes?
Well, they weren't cursed at once.
They weren't cursed before. Back in the 70s, when did it start, do you think, the curse?
The curses began after both countries, Britain and America, became great, wealthy, and then they began to go downhill.
Deteriorate. Great Britain lost its empire, its colonies, and the United States declined as a superpower and an economic power. It shriveled up like a piece of dried salted codfish, or a prune, or a raisin. Now, bacalao, as they say in Italian and Spanish. Now, unfortunately, the United States is run by what I call white-collar criminals. And you might say, what the hell is James talking about? Isn't he being
what the hell is James talking about?
Isn't he being a little extreme, calling our political leaders in this great country that's supposed to be blessed by God, white-collar criminals? Well, the Book of Revelation says the whole world is deceived. What do you remember?
Revelation 12:9.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. The whole world.
verse 9er.
Yeah, the whole world is and shall be probably even worse.
Remember,
Further,
the deceived person never knows that they are deceived.
that's why they're deceived.
That's correct.
Now, the reason why I bring that Bible verse up is because, let's see, 4 years ago, well, actually, no, probably, the United States was suckered into voting in, originally, voting in the demon G.W. Bush. And then they voted him in again.
Well, it wasn't suckered in. It was the Supreme Court determined.
Oh, I'm getting to that.
That he
because
become our president.
The man that should have been president back then, Al Gore, was robbed, of course, with the infamous voting in Florida with Governor Brother Jebby, or Jebi, whatever the hell he calls himself.
Catherine Harris.
Right. Now, and the investigation was terminated into that. Now, of course, Al Gore technically won by the popular vote.
He won the popular vote.
He won the popular vote.
But the point of it is that George W. Bush never won the electoral votes of Florida because they weren't allowed to count the votes. The Supreme Court stepped in and determined a state issue. Voting is a state issue.
And the absentee ballots were not accounted for.
Well, the ballots were never counted.
They never.
The Supreme Court dictated that George W. Bush would be harmed if they went ahead with the accounting. Meaning he would have lost.
Oh, isn't that a shame that G.W. Bush would have been harmed? Oh, like we care. My heart bleeds for him.
So they gave him.
Right. Now, not only Florida, but Ohio. The state of Ohio was a close race.
2004.
And they did not want to wait for the inner city vote to come in.
Correct.
To account for the inner city vote, because they knew that the inner city vote in, let's say, in this case, Ohio, was going to be predominantly minorities, people of color, possibly women, college kids, that they would come in and it would be most likely votes for the Democrat, Al Gore.
Later
and not for the
investigation showed that there was rampant cheating in the voting and etc. in Ohio at that time. And he lost. He also lost that race.
They deliberately did not want to wait for the inner city votes to come in and the absentee ballots to come in. It was deliberate. Now,
Blackwell.
I don't want to.
Blackwell.
Yeah, I don't want to remain too much in the past. We're going to speed ahead. Well, that's Reverend Bill.
That was the
time machine.
The time machine, yeah.
That's Reverend Bill's time machine. After 8 years of damage from G.W. Bush, which sealed the United States' fate, the nail in the coffin, the final nail in the coffin, last November, mainstream America was suckered again, fooled by Tea Party, conservative Republican lies, and they voted in a Republican Congress last November against their best interests, because these are middle-class people that just believed the bullshit about that our economy and job market is the fault of tax and spend of progressive liberal Democrats. It's all the Democrats' fault because of spend, and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, it's really a lack of revenue, not a spending problem, but a lack of revenue collection because the rich do not pay taxes. Okay.
For the last 30 years.
Right. And then Bush wasted trillions of dollars on Wall Street bailouts and the Iraq War, and it just went on and on. Trillions and trillions were pissed away, as Republicans often do, over inflated military budget. So that's the real truth. And the jobs, of course, are outsourced, so cutting taxes from the rich never really creates jobs in the United States. Another lie that they fed you, the lemmings, the middle class mainstream lemmings. And of course, Ronald Reagan shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor back in the 1980s. Again, Republican, and one of their heroes too. Now, the whole world is deceived. Okay, last November, people voted against their best interests. They believe Republican Tea Party lies, they voted in a Republican Congress, which further sealed the nails in the coffin of the United States. So now Barack Obama, who's getting blamed for everything, of course it's not his fault because he's bucking heads with a Republican Congress. You know, everything.
Tea Party.
Huh?
Tea Party.
Right.
It's not really as you can see, what just happened. The Senate voted 89 to whatever to pass this 2-month extension of the payroll tax holiday. And when it went to the House, the Tea Party obstructed and wouldn't let Boehner, Mr. Boehner, agree to the bill. So now the Senate is on vacation and the House can do nothing of and by itself. So we are up in the air.
So is
after the holiday holidays, people are no longer going to get that money in their paycheck. Their taxes are going to go up. But the Tea Party doesn't give a dang about that.
Now this is the.
It's only the rich.
Now this is the taxation on the little guy on the mainstream, right? It's going up, and of course, the tax cuts for the rich were completely taken off the table by the Congress and Senate. The Bush tax cuts
and the super committee.
The Bush tax cuts for the rich was extended, of course, and completely off the table. So, guess what? Again, taxation on the little guy is going up, and the rich are continuing to not pay any taxes at all. I used to say fair share in taxes, no, but they're not paying taxes at all. So, lack of revenue, not necessarily a spending problem. It's not the social services for the poor and the handicapped and the disabled. No. It's not the welfare. It's not the food stamps. It's not Social Security. These are not the problems. These are drops in a bucket. It's the obscene spending on giving money away, welfare for corporations and fat cats and the rich, welfare for them, and overtaxing the middle class.
Welfare for the military budget.
Right, and military, overinflated military budget. This is what caused the whole thing. This is the real truth, people. But no. The lemmings, the mainstream lemmings, the nincompoops of America, just like Bible prophecy, the whole world is deceived, Revelation, suckered again, and all you see on TV is more conservative propaganda and lies. And of course the media is not sticking the microphone in front of the progressives and the liberals out there. At least they're interviewing the Occupy movement protesters. At least they give them a chance to talk, but not much.
Yeah, but they give them a chance to talk, and then they mock them. They mock them later.
Yeah, you know who they interview? I'll tell you who the news media's been interviewing. The businesses in the area that are bitching and moaning about the protesters.
Whenever you have money involved, you can throw the Constitution right out the window. Because money will trump it every time.
So the media, because of money, because of sponsors from the corporations, do not want you to hear the mainstream, the little guy side of the story, what's the real hard-hitting truth. They want you to hear the lies, and they want to demonize the Occupy Wall Street protesters.
And they want you to hear about how protesting itself interferes with business as usual.
Oh yeah, they're blocking the sidewalks. Our customers cannot come into our stores. They're harassing our customers. They're keeping people from getting to work.
They're coming in here and using our toilets and making them dirty.
What they're doing is they're nitpicking, and they're not seeing the real problem, and they're not contributing, because there must be fat cats that are complaining because small businesses owned by mom and pop stores, if there's any left, they are under the heavy taxation as well. Okay, the fat cats, the 1%, are not paying any money at all in income taxes, and also they got the offshore mailboxes, they got the Swiss bank accounts, and they outsource your American jobs, which is unpatriotic. So it's not the progressives that are unpatriotic. It's really the Republicans, the right-wing Republicans, that are unpatriotic, because they support the outsourcing. They support deregulation of businesses, which give businesses the right to rip you off and to lie to you. Every time you're deceived,
and to exploit you.
Exploit you. They don't really care about the customer. Really, I mean, you know, banks, I heard banks are charging a fee now for a savings account.
Well, that's been something for a while.
Bank of America? I never heard of that.
I had to give up my savings account years ago because they wanted a monthly fee to keep it open.
So everything is...
So I transferred everything to my checking account.
So as soon as the right-wing Republicans deregulated all businesses, then the banks just jumped on it, and the credit card companies, they fee after fee after fee. Everything in America is about a fee. And
that's how we got into the part of the financial meltdown. They were selling, the banks and everything were selling to their customers who wanted to buy investments, junk, the derivatives. But they were getting a fee for it.
Oh, no fee.
So they didn't care what happened to their customer after they bought the crap. They got our fee. And the rating agencies were in on it. They gave them AAA ratings for junk, for garbage.
And heaven forbid, oh yeah, inferior quality, and heaven forbid you need to reach customer service. Woo. So the title of this show will be The Lying GOP, which is the greedy old party.
You know,
not the grand old party.
But the point is, everybody who is not totally blind by their ideology knows that the GOP lies, and yet it doesn't touch them. It's as if they are Teflon to it.
They don't feel remorse. They don't feel guilt. They're not embarrassed.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying the rest of the populace doesn't seem to want to get the message or get the message.
I have a feeling that most of these Republican votes came from the red state, Bible Belt, Holy Roller, right-wing fundamentalist, religious nut areas where people only vote ideology. They don't vote hard, concrete, cold hard. They don't vote based on evidence, proof, science. They based on a dumb, crazy ideology based on their religion.
That's about 28 to 38% of the Republicans that do that.
Yeah, these are the same.
That's the evangelicals and fundamentalists and
all the kooks out there that are all, you know, getting all emotional and getting funky in church.
Snake handlers.
They're speaking in tongues. Sound like blithering idiots. And these are the people that actually believe. Hold on, I hit myself with my shillelagh. Actually believe that a fertilized egg is a human being. Do they believe if you terminate a conception that you're killing a person?
Life begins at conception for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And is that proven in the Bible anywhere?
No, it's not. I mean, Adam was conceived and created and then breathed the breath of life into him.
It goes on and on. They're against stem cell research. They're gay bashers. They're against every little. They want to shove their religion down your throat.
That's what it amounts to.
Even though no one has proven that their God exists, no religion has proven that their God exists. They want to spend your taxpayers' money on their crazy religiosity, their zealot ways. They want to shove their form of a Bible interpretation down your children's throat. And meanwhile, you could be a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, an atheist, a Jew. No, but they want to shove their religion down your throat and your kid's throat. You know, it's like it's fascism. It's they want.
Well, they believe that God is so puny that they have to conquer the country on his behalf.
Their objective of the right wing right
Control.
now,
Total control.
is a feudalistic oligarch. They want a global corporate plutocracy. They want to enslave the little guy and kill off the poor. Plain and simple. Like I said at the beginning, like I said last week, white-collar criminals, the greedy old party, and we are living in the end times, and they are doing the will of the king of the world, who's Satan. More or less, yeah. They're doing it.
More.
And more, not less. And this is where we're at, you know. Anyway, this is my prop, imported Blackthorn Irish Shillelagh, imported from Ireland. Helps me emphasize certain issues. Okay, start with an article.
The letter writer regarding wealthy did not run up the United States debt is clearly lobbing additional bombs in the war of the classes. Let's discuss the facts before we attack. How can you possibly fight two major wars, fund the creation of a homeland security bureaucracy, and do it, I might add here myself, in Medicare Part D, and do it all while cutting taxes of major corporations and wealthy individuals? As this is the season to remember Pearl Harbor, let's recall during World War II, every American enthusiastically paid additional taxes and, on top of that, supported the war effort with massive bond drives and rallies across the nation. This was a time when two New Jersey-born entertainers, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, raised more for the war effort with these bond rallies than any other entertainers of that period. And how did Bud and Lou do it? Well, when they went to rallies, Bud would make his pitch to the bankers and businessmen, and Lou would make his pitch to the blue-collar workers. And everyone tried to outdo the other. Not to get tax breaks, but to give their money willingly to support our American troops and the war effort. The two wars this nation engaged in during this century, Iraq and Afghanistan, followed the terrible attack on our World Trade Center. Here is where the opportunity was lost. What President George W. Bush should have done at the time is not to tell us something like, go out to the mall and shop. He should have encouraged all Americans to support the war effort via a two-pronged home front attack. Increase taxes that would hit every class and would fairly pay for the wars, and also create a new home front push to sell war bonds to supplement the taxes to pay for the war effort. This way Americans would all be contributing and sacrificing for a cause, and we would not be driven into debt and be forced to pay for the wars via Chinese purchase of our treasury bonds. The bottom line is that Social Security, an entitlement program, and other social service programs did not and are not driving our debt. This is a cruel ruse. What is driving the debt is out-of-control spending on wars and the military-industrial complex, and payments to foreign nations regarding our foreign policy initiatives.
And bailing out fat cats.
That have brought little return on our investments. We, as Americans, must recognize the fault lies not in the stars, but in ourselves. And we can only cure our nation's ills by all of us sacrificing to save our nation. If that means additional taxes and or a cutback in our overseas military presence, so be it.
Well,
of course, I would add, though...
I would add a fair tax system.
Well,
he didn't mention a fair tax system to pay for all this.
No, we don't have that. But why is it never an issue? Why is it always an issue of everybody has to sacrifice. No.
Everybody.
The wealthy have been on tax-paying holiday for 30 years. Why do we have to sacrifice?
Yeah, why? Yeah, it sounds like Chris Christie when he says everyone has to sacrifice. Why should the little guy? Why should mainstream have to sacrifice?
Exactly.
Mainstream has paid the tax burden.
We paid our dues
for over 30 years, right?
Right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Who is this jabroni? This everybody has to contribute. Fuck him. The rich should be contributing.
Tom Myers, an editor.
Fuck Tom Myers. I like the article, but man, he left out a couple important parts.
The most important thing, yeah.
Okay, he kept on saying we all have to contribute. Screw him. The little guy has contributed above and beyond, and way too much for the past 30 years.
Right.
Exactly. Okay, what else we got? We got one more before your lunch.
We taxpayers once again see overly zealous government bureaucrats cheerfully distributing entitlements. In this case, to seniors, who in many cases don't want them because they are proud people who are determined not to seek government assistance.
Sounds like the handicapped that were that got themselves kicked off of Social Security disability.
Bravo to the seniors who resist the lure of government dependency, and shame on the bureaucrats who never saw an entitlement program they didn't promote.
I'm sure these senior citizens are the ones that retired with a huge nest egg. No? Or are they just idiots?
I wish these same advocates for handouts would show the same sensitivity to taxpayers as they do in trying to coax seniors into applying for food stamps. They are seniors who are eligible for food stamps but don't want to take them because they're too proud.
They're too proud.
They're too proud.
They feel ashamed. And why do they have this guilt trip, I may ask? Gee, I wonder why.
The Republicans keep giving it to them.
See, the conservative propaganda, they keep on falling for the lies and they feel guilty. The guilt trip worked. The same way it worked for the handicap when they passed that big amendment. What's that law that screwed the disabled people?
Kidda versus the director of labor or whatever.
Yeah, when somebody,
workers' compensation.
And they had some poster boy get up and give a speech and say, "I'm a productive citizen. I'm a productive member of society now, and because I work, I don't collect disability." Some bullshit, you know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're handicapped. They should be getting a nice, adequate, big Social Security disability check that is equal to the cost of living.
And if they want to work, they should be allowed to work without losing their benefits.
Working optional. Just like a nude beach, it says clothing optional. Working optional. They should never run the risk of losing their disability checks. But guess what? If you get a part-time job and you're on Social Security disability, they lie to you. They say there's no risk. But if you're collecting Social Security disability or SSI, you will be taken off it. So if you're on the dole, if you're collecting any of those two checks, do not, and I repeat, do not get a part-time job. Fuck them. If you get something in the mail that says ticket to work and self-sufficiency program, rip it up just like you would rip up spam or, something from a car dealer.
Junk mail.
Like I got last week, the car dealer. That looked like a Social Security check. Yeah, junk mail. Rip it up. Get rid of it. Don't sign it. Don't fill it out. Don't send it in. All right, what do we got here? You finish up the article?
Let me do these two letters here first. I think I got two letters here.
So you finished the other one, right?
Yeah, that one's finished. It appears that vociferous attention-driven appetite of the occupiers has turned against the grounds of Trinity Church because they want to use it as a new campsite. They're sounding more and more like that spoiled child demanding what he or she wants regardless of what the parent says. Trinity Church has a rich and proud history of serving the and helping people in lower Manhattan since the 1700s, attended services there after his inauguration, and the people fleeing the collapse of the Trade Center took shelter inside. When the protesters occupied Zuccotti Park, the church helped feed and shelter and support the band of malcontents. See, this goes back to our, remember the mockery of them? Malcontents.
Now,
The occupiers are malcontents.
who's saying is Trinity Church or the media?
No, a person.
Oh, really?
It's his opinion.
A person's opinion, huh? Hey, buddy, come visit old James Piranha Madonna. I'll give you an opinion. A shillelagh upside your head, you jerk, you conservative asshole.
Now, because the church won't allow them to bivouac on church property,
Bivouac?
they feel
Is that the sound my shillelagh makes when it hits his head? What's a bivouac?
when an army encamps
Oh,
to
okay.
sleep and etc.
Oh, okay. Bivouac.
Now, because the church won't allow them to bivouac on church property, they feel it's all right to destroy church property and occupy the property anyway. So much for the rule of law.
Demonizing the protesters again.
At what point in time do the media realize that they are being manipulated by this small but vocal group of malcontents?
No, they're being manipulated by corporations, by corporate CEOs. They're not being manipulated by the Occupy protesters.
That only survive on free media attention. This group lives for attention and self-gratification.
Free? Oh.
Why are the media supplying this to them?
Why is the media supplying attention to the GOP and the conservative propaganda and the Republican 2012 candidates? Why is the GOP focusing on the Republicans? Does anybody ever ask that? But no, the media shouldn't be focusing on the Occupy protesters, which represent the 99 percenters, which represent the little guy, which represent the poor.
Yeah.
What hypocrisy. Oh, God.
With all the debate and mostly gridlock over passing any bill in
My
Congress,
blood pressure,
a thought occurred to
which
me.
is normal, by the way.
All congressmen and congresswomen have to take an oath when they take office, in which they swear to support and defend the Constitution and faithfully discharge the duties of their office. We know there are a large number of lawmakers, mostly Republicans, both in the House and the Senate, who have taken Grover Norquist's ridiculous pledge or oath to never raise taxes under any conditions. This is the main reason for the endless gridlock in Congress, and also their 7% approval rating. Doesn't taking the second oath conflict with the first oath these senators and representatives took when elected?
So they're just like the greedy doctors that forget all about taking the Hippocratic oath. These politicians
And become businessmen.
Right, become businessmen, corporatists. The same thing with politicians throwing one of their important oaths out the window.
Doesn't it prevent them from actually doing their job? Realistically, to run government, you have to create revenue at some point. It can't be done by only cutting spending. Most independent economists agree on this. If these individuals are refusing to do their job, they should be removed from office. They insult the American people by holding the office and making the process a sham. I think a Congressional Ethics, an oxymoron, committee should look into this. They and Norquist are making a mockery out of our government. And it's time for the people to stand up. How did we fall asleep and let one little man become so powerful? Shame on them for hijacking our government, and shame on us for letting it happen.
Damn right. Letting it happen.
Yeah.
letting it happen. Lazy Americans who did not bother to do their research and learn both sides of the story. They just stopped and listened to the liars, and they believed the conservative propaganda and voted Republican. They believed that old bullshit about tax and spend liberals, and not the real truth.
Well, that's part of it. But the big part of it, of course, is that these religious nuts within the party will never vote for a liberal.
No matter how much evidence they hear.
That's correct. Because liberals are baby killers. They are secular humans.
The ideology.
They are science-oriented.
The
rather than faith.
Faith. So the ideology of the holy roller, right-wing fundamentalist, religious zealot nuts will always
trump
reality and proof.
Correct.
So they're kooks.
So that's why they continue
lemmings.
to vote Republican.
I don't understand how they could be so brainwashed by their false religion.
Well, Revelation 12:9. They're deceived, but the deceived person does not know he's deceived. So you have to have an open mind. The open mind conflicts with ideology.
Now, is this you hear that? Now, is this the first white horse of the apocalypse that we're talking about? The false church, the false religion?
Yeah, but we're talking about
false prophet?
Why someone would believe something without testing it.
Like somebody who believes in rumors about somebody who automatically listens to rumors, somebody who's petty and shallow, and just because their friend tells them something about somebody else, right away oh really? Oh, that person's no good, that person's this, she's that. You know, like the cattiness like some of the women indulge in the office.
Right, and then that's the first impression you have of that person, and then that never changes. You know what they say about first impressions, huh?
They stick.
They stick. Like glue. Like glue.
Yeah. Well, it'll happen socially. You go to a nightclub, a dance club with young people, and let's say 5 girls go out, and one of the girls meets a guy she likes, and she's talking to him all night, and the other girls get jealous, you know, sour grapes. Nobody's talking to them. They'll drag the girl into the ladies' room, talk trash about the guy, and they'll come. You know, when they come out, she won't even go back to talk to the guy. She'll automatically believe what her friends have said, or it could be rumors, false rumors spread around. People are gullible. It's like people are not lazy to be free, independent thinkers, challenge authority, do their homework, do their research, look in the book.
If people were free and open minds, do you think that countries, the Arabs or whatever, could actually create these women as third-class citizens? I put them below animals in those cultures. Okay?
Yeah, they don't respect women.
Yeah. So, you know, how would that come about?
All right, we're going to take a break. Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman will partake in his gastronomic delight known as lunch. And believe me, old Beelzebub, in a sneaky way, will always try to sabotage our fine organization.
Oh, speaking of that, I got to inject there. Gary Null's show today got sabotaged.
What happened?
Oh, I didn't get the first part of it.
Did you see the video?
They knocked them off the air and this, that, and the other thing.
Did you see the video I sent you about his incompetent staff when Dr. Julian Whitaker was...
nothing. You heard nothing.
No, Whitaker's voice was not there.
Yeah, there was nothing on the phone.
And I wonder if I'm sure Gary Null was told that took place.
Well, yeah, afterwards, but not during.
The great medical nutritionist of California, Dr. Julian Whitaker, was a guest via, phone, I guess.
It was phone. On
the Gary Null show, and I wanted to download it and promote it, just like I did when Jesse Ventura was a guest on the Gary Null show from Ustream, Internet Talk Radio. Julian Whitaker's voice was not there, so he has low-grade, incompetent protect people.
It could be sabotage.
Or maybe it is sabotage. Maybe the drug companies and the drug pushing medical establishment did not want people to hear.
Look,
Julian Whitaker.
Back in the 60s or whatever, I mean, the American Medical Association was against the chiropractors, and they did it all behind the scenes,
and
baby.
you know, Julian Whitaker has a heavy duty positive reputation for curing many very serious diseases.
And diabetes.
You know, we got an evil monster here, the pharmaceutical industry. All right. I don't know, anytime I talk about, when I start pitching the newsletter, she starts laughing and making fun of my.
It's expected.
Huh?
It's expected.
Why is it expected? Why is it necessary? Why is it expected?
Because.
How could anybody mock this? This is pure gold.
I know, but that's what you're dealing with. People who do not understand that it's gold.
Yeah, well, maybe we need that civil war so we can eliminate the people that mock and don't understand.
That didn't work for God.
No, God just took out Sodom and Gomorrah and flooded the earth during Noah's time, right?
Yeah, that didn't work. It just slowed down the time. That's all. Don't forget the tower.
It slowed down the Tower of Babel.
Yeah. It just slowed down the timeline.
That's true. That's true.
In other words, if the Tower of Babel were allowed the people to cooperate in that manner, don't forget it was all one language at that time, and they cooperated. If humans are allowed to cooperate, there is nothing that can be denied them.
Is that when people actually really did speak in tongues? And not the nonsense that
I don't know what the language was, but there was only one language at the time.
Yeah, but that was Nimrod, right? Nimrod of Babylon.
Baal. He became the god.
The sun god Baal. Now Ishtar was the moon goddess, right? His queen, right? Ishtar, which is what Easter.
Semiramis.
Oh.
It was his wife.
Well, we're talking about the origins of the pagan origins of Christmas and Easter, and the symbols and the traditions.
Yeah, Ishtar.
The ancient roots of those two things. Well, I know I forgot to say we're back. Well, anyway, Dr. Bill, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is eating now his gastronomic delight. So I'll do a little promo. Progressive Discussions is totally ad-libbed and unrehearsed. We don't have any script. We have a basic format, but as far as what we say, anything could happen. It's completely unrehearsed. Anyway, this gentleman next to me is a self-portrait of my mentor and co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It is a watercolor painting because the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. You can view the William J. Eisenman collection by going to Google and typing in Megalife 21, the William J. Eisenman collection, and you'll get the video. It's a slideshow to Caribbean steel drum music. Or you can go to newslettercensored.com and see it, or you can go to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile if it's open to the public. Because I know our Newsletter Censored Facebook page is public. Anyway, if you see a painting you like, drop them a line, send them an email, see if the painting is still available, and if it is, you can purchase an original. You can send your gift. The bidding starts at $500, but you know what? Work things out with Dr. Bill. Send a nice gift worthy of an authentic, real, fine, high-quality watercolor painting signed by William J. Eisenman himself. Now, of course, he's always working on new ones. and he received a new painting material. Well, it's not new. Well, it's new to Dr. Bill. He will be trying to use. Well, he will attempt to use.
In gosh.
He will attempt to use something called gosh. Whatever, I'm not sure what that is. He kind of explained to me what it was, and I told him, call your new painting, oh my gosh. I never heard of gosh until, gosh, oh gee, golly, until he told me about it. I only know about acrylics, oil, and watercolor. Now, this is the backbone of our entire organization, Newsletter Censored. It contains the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. It is the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? There is nothing like this in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. It is hard-hitting truth, founded in 1977 by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. There's more information in the newsletter than there is on our talk shows or on our websites. This is the very best way to be a part of our organization. Go to newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. That's newslettercensored.com. It's really the best way to join us, is to get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. We are living in the end times, and you need Newsletter Censored. It will teach you how to defeat a conservative, and it will explain to you in detail what's going on. At the beginning, you have the political analysis, censored by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. And then, if there's room, you'll get tidbits, which is more or less current news topics. And then The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, where the Reverend Dr. Bill will teach you what the Bible really has to say, and not what counterfeit, zealot, right-wing fundamentalists, holy rollers, phony baloney Christians tell you what the Bible says. No. They try to rewrite the Bible. Dr. Bill will tell you what the Bible really says. Last but not least, Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. So get it now. And I just want to tell you and our listeners and viewers that yours truly, James P. Madonna, the Renaissance man can create, and a part of his troupe, a concert violinist and fiddler extraordinaire by the name of Ben, and supposedly he might very well be Ken Create's personal DJ by the name of Eli. We will all be going up to Access 23, right? Channel, or is it 22?
23, I think.
Time Warner cable TV show, Keeping Country Strong, with Carl Richards and Irwin Benz. We will be going tomorrow night, and we will be back on the show. I believe this might be the 4th time. I think so, yeah. We're going to be back on the show tomorrow on the Time Warner station. Okay, and they will be playing all original music, so the show will reach millions and millions of homes. There's no copyright infringement, you know, when you play somebody else's music, so it'll be original music, so the show will be out there. And if he makes it, he said he was coming, the second generation pro wrestler and promoter Jason Nieves will be with me, will be meeting us, and he will come on the show most likely at the beginning with me. So we will be starting the brand new pro wrestling organization, the Time Warner TV tape Pro Wrestling Show will continue with a new promoter who is a lot more honest than the previous one, that fiasco that we went through. I don't even want to get into detail about that, but anyway, let me get something out of the way, and we'll continue with the articles for the holiday special. Happy holidays, happy pagan Christmas 2011, the countdown to 2012.
The
Countdown to infamous 2012. And on Christmas Eve, Saturday, I will be indulging, or probably overindulging, in some great food and drinking some high-quality whiskey and rum, and especially in good eggnog with nice, some nice cinnamon, fresh cinnamon stick and nutmeg, you know, ground on a cheese grater, you know, right on top of that eggnog. Should be pretty good. Once in a big while, it doesn't hurt to indulge, you know.
It's a way of life for some lifeguards, badge checkers, police officers, and public works employees who report for work at the Jersey Shore in May.
Oh, gee.
And collect their last paycheck shortly after Labor Day. Work all summer at the shore, maybe work another job, and collect unemployment in the off-season. But now, 2 South Jersey towns facing tighter budgets are urging the state to end that practice.
What practice?
Paying them unemployment during their off time.
But they're on the books when they work, aren't they?
Correct.
Well, then they have earned income.
Correct.
According to the federal government.
Correct.
The state.
Correct.
So if you have,
what does that have to do when Republicans want to do what they want to do?
But
get rid of all entitlements for entitled people.
Well, if you work a specified amount of weeks, like was it 20 weeks or 22 weeks? Some odd.
26, I think.
You're entitled to collect unemployment.
That's correct. Entitled. So you want to do away with that word.
So the Republicans want to do it all unemployment
for these people.
For these
half-season people.
But
who work only half the season.
Yeah, but Bill, even when somebody works part-time and
they don't care about that.
Temporary people that work on temporary assignments. If you put in enough weeks, you can collect unemployment. So if you don't have a permanent job, a permanent full-time job, the Republicans do not want you to collect unemployment. So what are you supposed to do?
They never want you to collect unemployment.
So what are you supposed to do when your job ends and you can't find another one?
Starve.
I got a better idea. Civil war.
Civil war. With 95% of humanity being adaptive supporters.
So what do? You just die like some passive idiot?
That's how they've structured, rigged the culture.
Like they want to evict the tent people down in Lakewood, New Jersey?
Yeah.
They want to actually want to kick the homeless tent people. You know, they already demonized them by calling them tent people, right? That lost their homes and lost their jobs. They want to evict them from the woods. How the hell do you get like it's such a luxury to live in a tent? like the
well, you know, the poor,
the veterans in Florida living in tents, huh?
The poor in our country have television sets. So.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Oh, it certainly is.
But it's okay. It's okay for
and they are fat.
But I guess it's okay for the children of the rich, elitist, right-wing Republicans. It's okay for their kids to be spoiled rotten and have everything. And it's okay for Chris Christie to have everything.
And it's okay for them to be lazy.
And it's okay for them to be lazy, and it's okay for them to be gluttons like Chris Christie.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And it's okay for their kids never to have to go to war or never to get drafted.
Yep.
But you know, of course, if you're poor, you're supposed to like friggin' just
That's correct.
drop dead.
That's right.
Gee, interesting.
Or work for nothing,
they
slave
wanted-
wages.
Gee, what is next? They want to do away with unemployment now. I wonder what the GOP, the greedy old party, has up their sleeve next. Slavery?
Yeah. When you know when the job's going to start and when it's going to be completed, a definite employment period, unemployment should not be applied. Mayor Carl Schupp of Cape May Point said.
Mayor Carl Schupp should jump in the ocean. Since he's so close to the ocean, he should walk off
A pier, a short pier.
a short pier.
Take a long walk on a short pier.
Take a long walk off a short pier, holding and having an anchor tied around his neck, right?
We don't think that's right. Schupp, along with the mayor of Cape May City,
Schupp.
sponsored a resolution at the League of Municipalities Conference in November, urging the state to restrict unemployment benefits for seasonal workers. Schupp said a handful of other shore towns spoke in favor of it, and he expects momentum for the proposal to grow. The measure has the support of the League, which plans to approach lawmakers in the new legislative season next year to find a sponsor. According to the state's Department of Labor and Workforce Development, 15 states already restrict unemployment benefits for seasonal workers. New Jersey towns are increasingly looking for ways to save, even in unconventional places.
Hey, aren't landscapers seasonal workers? Aren't roofers, men that put on roofs, seasonal workers, construction workers? So
yeah.
what do they want to do? You know what? Some of those guys belong to unions.
But that's why they hate unions.
You think the union man is gonna tolerate not having unemployment?
Why do you think Republicans want to destroy unions?
I think
They're the only fight back that the working man, the blue collar man has, is the union.
Sure.
That's why they want to destroy them. Outlaw them. Prevent them from being formed.
The only power the little guy has is the asses of the masses with torches and pitchforks in hundreds of thousands, legions, hundreds of thousands or millions. You know, but you got adaptive supporters in America. Like I was saying before, the lemmings that voted against their best interest that vote conservative, Republican.
Squeezed by a steady decrease in state aid, a cap on property tax collections, and a sputtering economy, mayors are shining flashlights in the darkest corners of their budgets to find money. But Jeff Keefe, professor at Rutgers School of Management and Labor Relations, said, the amount of money the towns pay for unemployment is minimal compared with how much they take in on tourism in the summer. Keefe said there are many seasonal industries around the country, and their employers know that paying unemployment comes with the territory. Schupp said his town's total budget is approximately $1.2 million, and it paid about $15,000 in unemployment claims this year. A drop in the bucket. See, but it's not the amount. It's not the amount. It's the destruction of the entitlement that is important.
Oh, really?
Well, of course, that's the ideology.
I wonder if Schupp's a Republican.
Of course he is.
I might have a little extra title on this video. This is a shocker.
It's really a bottom-line financial issue, said Mike Serra, a policy analyst with the Municipalities League. It's one thing if you're hired permanently, and that position is eliminated for budget reasons. These are seasonal jobs. When you apply for them, you know it's going to come to an end.
Yeah, it's a big temp. But it has to be seasonal. What do you expect? People are not going to go on the beach when it's cold. Of course it's seasonal. Roofers are not going to go up on a roof with ice and snow up there. Landscapers have nothing to landscape when the grass is not growing and there's snow and ice on the ground. Of course it's seasonal. It's like a big temp job. So what they're saying is seasonal jobs would probably be followed by temp jobs, and all these people will not be eligible for unemployment.
Well,
according to Republicans.
That's another thing that they wish to do. They want to hire temp people because in that way they don't have to pay any benefits.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. When they hire temp people, the temp people do not qualify for full-time benefits. So guess what? The American worker then does not get any health care.
He gets screwed.
So where does the American worker that has no choice and has no health care, where do you go when you get sick? You have to go to the low-income clinics. Can you imagine the long wait, the waiting list?
They want to do away with that too.
All right, so what does the sick do when you're
die on the street?
Poor,
like in the old days before FDR. What do you think happened in America?
Because they're not really funding. The North Hudson Community Action Corporation, they get very limited funding from the government. So the Republicans probably want to take away that funding.
Well,
completely.
Reagan started this devolution, wherein the states will be responsible for things and wouldn't get the money from Washington.
Oh, really? And if you're a state that has a governor like Chris Christie, that you're poor and you go to the hospital, the emergency room, I bet he'll take away charity. I bet people like Chris Christie would take away charity care. So therefore,
if they got good propaganda around it, yes, they would. So good PR.
So it'll be like Colombia, South America. If you're poor and you have no health insurance and you go to the hospital, they don't let you in the hospital. You die outside on the street. You die.
Yep.
Hey man, when is an animal most dangerous? When it's desperate and cornered, when it has nothing else
to
lose. Nothing to lose.
But we in this country, since we are a democracy, and not a republic, as the Republicans are fond of saying, we are a democracy. It shouldn't be that way. We should be in control of our government. But we aren't, because the big corporations and those representatives that we elect are.
Yeah, and of course the brilliant, qualified, highly qualified, independent candidate never gets heard because, unfortunately, we have money in politics.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Now, I have a little thing on your favorite governor.
Oh God.
Fresh from his trip to Iowa to boost GOP presidential hopeful Mitt Romney's standing with Republican caucus voters, Governor Christie on Monday night helped fill the candidate's campaign coffers. The governor hosted Romney at a fundraiser Christie said took in $1.1 million for the former Massachusetts governor. Billed as the Romney campaign's New Jersey kickoff reception, the high-priced shindig at the Parsippany Hilton cost a minimum of $500 and drew more than 500 people. Almost every Republican bigwig in the state showed up, sending the message that New Jersey Republican establishment is in lockstep behind Romney. And Christie, his highest profile surrogate on the campaign trail. The governor said all 21 county chairmen are endorsing Romney, as are 14 of 16 Republican state senators, and 27 of 33 GOP assembly members. Welcome to Morris County. Welcome to New Jersey. And New Jersey tonight is officially Mitt Romney country, Christie said.
Oh, really?
Romney began his 14-minute speech by heaping praise on Christie. This guy is just amazing. The whole nation's watching this guy, he said. Romney then took some swipes at President Obama,
Sure.
saying he wants to turn towards Europe. Right now we have a choice. Do we follow Europe or do we follow America?
Follow Europe.
I don't think Europe is working in Europe.
No, Europe is fine.
It's not going to work here.
They have compassion for the poor. They make the rich pay for it.
The right answer is to believe in America
Why?
and believe in the principles that made us the hope of the earth.
Yeah, greed.
We are the hope of the earth.
The hope?
What is this hope?
The destruction
what?
of the earth. Hope for what? What do you hope for? What? Unless you're rich. Unless you're greedy and rich, and you're of the devil's world. Yeah, that's what all this flag waving patriotism is about. If you don't have a pot to piss in, America it does not mean a damn thing.
It was a
To the
gathering
poor.
of the haves.
Huh?
It was a gathering of the haves.
It's all haves. Not the have-nots don't count. Europe at least takes care of the have-nots. You know?
Monday's fundraiser came as Romney continues to lead the pack of GOP presidential hopefuls in money, but trails former House Speaker Newt the Salamander Gingrich
Slimy salamander.
by double digits in 3 of 4 early caucus and primary states, according to polls. Christie said he expects the primary process to be a long slog, but that it won't be determined by the first few states. Romney has been positioning himself to outlast his rivals, even if he doesn't have the strongest early showing. If I were concerned about Newt the Salamander Gingrich, I'd have had to be concerned about Herman Cain, the Hurricane Cain, Michelle Bachmann, and Rick.
Crazy. Oh, Rick. Oh, hold on.
Michelle Bachmann.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Michelle Bubblehead Bachmann, who is very similar to Sarah Nayland Palin, and they're all attractive, but they're political morons. You know, Christine O'Donnell, Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, but they're political morons and very selfish. This is what I hear when I hear Michelle Bubblehead Bachmann or Sarah Palin. A slide whistle. That's how their voices sound to me.
Thank you.
All right.
State Democrats pointed out a $10,000 bet Romney offered to rival Texas Governor Scary Perry during a debate Saturday,
The religious nut, Perry.
a move critics derided as showing how out of touch Romney is with regular people. New Jersey is an ATM stop for candidates, and Chris Christie is offering to open up the ATM for his friend Mitt Romney, said Democratic State Chairman John Wisniewski. I think Romney's trying to get enough money together to pay off that bet. Okay.
Well, the reason why current President, Democrat Barack Obama's approval rating has gone down so much is because people are believing the Tea Party Republican lies. They continue to fall for it. And, you know, by having Christie say, the nation is closely watching Mitt Romney, and New Jersey is Mitt Romney country, and Christie is really confident in believing that he speaks for the mainstream.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the mainstream is becoming more and more poor.
Yes.
So how could Christie speak for America if the 1% are the ones that are enjoying the American dream?
Good PR.
The only people that are really happy and enjoying the American dream are the 1%.
Well,
So
actually maybe 30%. 30% of people are doing well.
well, when you say 30, are you talking about 250 grand a year and up?
Oh yes, absolutely.
250 grand and up.
Yeah.
Okay. 30%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're not part of the
The
30%,
1% are. It's like a new category. They super rich.
okay, so
Uber rich.
okay, so 30%, counting the people with very, very good jobs that still have their good jobs that haven't gotten laid off yet.
Or, as what happened since 2000,
Are experiencing the American dream.
43,000 factories, manufacturing have gone from the. Was that Obama's fault?
Hell no.
From 2000,
Yeah.
and those ain't coming back. All those jobs are gone. 43,000 manufacturing factories, whatever, businesses dead, finished, gone.
Now a Democratic control Washington, a progressive control Washington, probably could not stop corporations from outsourcing, but they can sure tariff the hell out of their products that they try to bring back into the United States.
Well, hey, they make the laws. They can change any law they want. The fact of the matter is, the lobbyists will not allow them.
What do you mean the lobbyists won't allow them? How does a lobbyist stop people?
Money.
Oh, they grease their palm. When you say
Yeah.
not allow, that sounds like force.
Well, it is force, isn't it?
Extortion. No, they bribery.
Well, that's force. That's money.
Well,
This is what I.
but it takes two to tango when it comes to bribery, doesn't it?
Not when you are living in a country that is making you survive, your survival at stake.
If you're a senator,
Money becomes very important.
all right, sir. If you're a senator, let's say $175,000 a year, which is what I hear they make.
Congressmen, but senators make more.
All right. Oh, gee, more than that. Okay.
And Boehner makes more. Boehner makes more.
He makes more
For
than
being Speaker of the
175,
House.
and they get free health care and free retirement. How does taking bribes become a necessity out of desperation when you're making that much money in Washington?
Because you want to get reelected to continue making that much money.
Oh, they entice you and say, look, if you want to get reelected, you better kind of like do what we say.
Yeah.
Because then there goes the original problem: money in politics.
Well, there's a bigger problem too, and I
Yeah.
touch on it in this the new issue of censor.
Which is coming out.
The problem is we are in a situation where we have made it that to actually survive, that is survive, we have to become slave to a corporation.
It sounds like the computer chip that's supposed to be planted in our heads, according to conspiracy theorists.
And it won't be our head, it will be the
mark of the
Holy Roman Empire
The mark of the beast, right?
who gives out the mark of the beast, not America.
So in order to survive, we must be enslaved by
We need a job.
the corporation. Yeah.
Well, that's what provides the jobs.
Well, originally, human beings had family-owned farms. Families.
They were self efficient.
There was right
In the Garden of Eden, I pointed out
Yeah.
in the new article.
Well, even after the Garden of Eden, families
Yeah, but after the
traditionally worked their own farms.
But after the Garden of Eden, the word work took on a different meaning. Drudgery.
Not only that,
When Adam was to dress and take care of the garden, work was a fine thing. It was a beautiful thing.
Well, it wasn't just work.
It was a necessary thing.
Many other.
It wasn't a survival thing.
Right. Many other negativities took place too. Sickness, disease, cold, extreme heat,
Because
danger.
humans wanted to make it on their own. They felt that they now knew the difference between good and evil, but they continue to do evil. They may know the difference, but they continue to do evil. And that's the devil's world. And that's what happened when they were thrown out in the garden.
Yeah.
And that's why we have this stuff, you know, like survival. Once upon a time, you had your own land, your own way of making a living, and then we were thrown into the Industrial Revolution, and people went to the cities, and there was nothing but jobs, and they had to get a job to survive.
That sucks.
And that caused exploitation on the part of the boss.
Oh, that really sucks.
See?
To
That's
have
where we are today.
to have to rely on your survival, with a corporation, to depend on a corporation for your very survival.
Exactly. In other words, it's like depending on the enemy for your own survival. Like the slave master and the slave. The slave depended on the master for his food and lodging.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's where they want us again. You know, like Sarah Palin said, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. Of course, she was quoting somewhere else, so she didn't.
The same could be said about one of those female Republican politicians. You can put makeup on them and they can look pretty, but they're still wicked inside. You know, and if God is there, if money is their God, which is idolatry, which is the bottom line with the GOP. But you finished that article yet or no?
Yes, that article's done.
That article's done. Is there a really good short one in there somewhere?
Well, they're all good.
Okay, is there a short one?
Good.
Is there a short one in there?
This is pretty short.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
A tiny white, all white, Appalachian church in rural Kentucky
Oh, gosh.
has voted to ban interracial couples
I heard about this.
from joining its flock,
Oh, boy.
pitting members against each other in an argument over race.
Racism coming from a church. A Bible Belt right-wing fundamentalist church. See what I mean?
All white.
All white?
All white.
But I guess it's okay with God to be a racist, according to these parishioners,
they
right?
misinterpret,
The pastor of the
They
church.
misinterpret the portions of the Bible which God wanted to set apart the Israelites, not because they were racist, but to live as an example to the other nations. See what happens if you obey me?
A distortion of the scripture?
Yeah.
Misinterpretation of the scripture?
These people think that God was a racist. And he has a chosen type of people over another.
And I suppose the parishioners...
They don't understand that God thinks they are worms and grasshoppers.
And I suppose the self-righteous, racist pastor and the parishioners of this church think that they are the chosen people and that they have a bat phone to God, and God puts them higher above other people, and if you're different, if you're of another race, you're inferior to these people. That's what they think, and they call themselves Christians.
Well, they don't believe what God says in the Bible. God is not a respecter of persons.
That's right.
Members at the Goner Free Will
Free Willie?
Free Will Baptist Church.
Oh, free will?
Yeah.
Oh, as in freedom. Free will, yeah.
Voted Sunday on the resolution.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Free will. But if you have free will and you don't agree with them, then you're no good.
Well, they'll kick you out, I guess.
So where's the free will?
There's none.
This article's getting better.
This is like George Bush when they put an EPA act through, a law, to allow more pollution, and they called it the Clear Skies Amendment.
Really?
Yes. That's what they do. They name something the opposite of what it is.
Or if they wanted to pollute, they wanted corporations to dump toxic waste in the ocean, they might call it the Pure Water
There you go.
Act.
Exactly. See, you could be a good Republican.
Oh my God. Glorified snake oil salesmen that they are.
The resolution says the church does not condone interracial marriage. The church member who crafted the resolution, Melvin Thompson, said he's not a racist and called the matter an internal affair. I'm not a racist. I will tell you that, said Thompson.
I bet this guy sees interracial, maybe like Jimmy Swaggart when he was picking up prostitutes on the road. I'm sure there's a lot of skeletons in their closets, believe me.
The church's former pastor, who stepped down earlier this year, that's what this is being portrayed as, but it's not. Church Secretary Dean Harville disagrees. He says the resolution came after his daughter visited the church this summer with her boyfriend from Africa. Stella Harville and Tisha Shinuki, or Shiknuni, now her fiance, visited the church in June, and Shikuni sang a song for the congregation.
So not only is he black, he's an immigrant. So these right-wing fundamentalists, holy rollers, really hate him. Because they don't like immigrants down
south whammy there.
In the red states.
You know?
They don't like immigrants.
Dean Harville said he was counting the church offering after a service in early August when he was approached by Thompson, who told him Harville's daughter and her boyfriend were no longer allowed to sing at the church. If he's not racist, what is this? Harville asked. The vote by members was 9-6. It was taken after the service, which about 35 to 40 people attended. Harville said many people left or declined to vote. The resolution says interracial couples cannot become members or be used in worship services or other church functions. The church's pastor, Stacy Stepp, said Wednesday that the denomination's regional conference will seek to resolve the issue this weekend.
Oh yeah, they'll resolve it, all right. Free Will Church in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Is it a Baptist or what?
Baptist.
Baptist. Just like that basset hound looking guy with the handlebar mustache in was it Florida? He was a Southern Baptist pastor, minister that burned the Quran.
Yeah.
And to me, these churches sound like cults. To me.
Well, that's what they are. But the problem is that they...
Free
will. The problem
will.
is tradition.
What?
The problem is tradition and false beliefs, which guide them. They are not guided by the Bible.
They want God on their terms. They want these are people.
Made him on their terms.
They made him on their
terms.
In their image, and they of course they're the type of people that rewrite the Bible because they're adding to the Bible by saying that God is a racist just like them.
Well, the Republicans, the right-wing Republicans, conservative Republicans, of course, see Jesus as he's got a black suit, a red tie, and carries a briefcase. Did you not know?
Yeah, and he cares about money.
He works on Wall Street.
He cares about wealth, like Joel Osteen preaches.
Right.
He cares about wealth. idolatry. So they totally disregard the last chapter of the book of Revelation.
Well, it appears somewhere else there too. It's twice mentioned in
about whoever
change this stuff.
Whoever adds to this book or takes away from this book,
yeah,
shall get their ass kicked by God.
Yeah.
Well, not word for word, but yeah, that's basically what it says. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
What a okay, you know what? That was pretty invigorating for our happy holidays, our happy pagan Christmas special. Of course, the next time you see us, it will most likely be Happy New Year 2011, the close of 2011, the official ending of 2011, the infamous 2012 countdown. Countdown to 2012 will be the next time that you see us. But it has been invigorating, to say the least. What?
Wasn't the end of the world supposed to be in October or something?
Harold Camping?
Yeah. 5 months after the last one?
Yeah, he was wrong again.
When was that? April or something?
Oh, yeah, that date and month is gone. His second prediction didn't come true.
I think it was October. There was no.
I'm Harold
I didn't hear nothing about it.
I'm an old fool, but people are my followers are bigger suckers because bigger fools because they keep on sending me money. I'm just a humble servant of God. He was wrong again. Harold Camping was wrong again.
Well, because he keeps, making a mockery of Matthew 24. Nobody knows.
You know, heaven.
Not even the angels of heaven.
Or Jesus knows when the end will be.
Jesus don't know. Only the Father knows.
Hey, do you know that the Heaven's Gate Marshall Applewhite website is still functioning?
Still up?
Which means there are still followers?
Oh, God.
Oh, what is with people? I don't understand them.
Why the hell would they pay over $100 for a sneaker?
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right.
Nikes.
Why would anybody pay $150 and up for a pair of designer jeans when they could easily get a pair of good jeans for like $10? Seriously. In reality, jeans that fit well too. I'm serious. Kmart, Walmart. If you're a woman that wants
Walmart.
Well, let's say you're a woman that wants jeans to fit a curvaceous woman's body. You could go online and you could find them. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay ridiculous amounts of money for that. Just like you suckers that have to go out and get spend thousands of dollars on like a diamond tennis bracelet. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on high-grade diamonds and get ripped off, because it's probably not going to be an investment to you. You can get beautiful cubic zirconias. Well, my sister told me, oh yeah, but I would know they're not real diamonds. That's what she was telling me.
That's the issue.
I would know it.
That's the issue, though.
But it's so superficial and shallow.
It's the thing, you see. The thing itself.
It's not the fact that the cubic zirconia looks just as good, if not better, than the real diamond for a microscopic fraction of the price. No.
Look, first of all, people don't understand. It's the same thing with
designer clothes.
With gold. Everybody's buying gold right now. If you go to Jared and you buy a ring or a necklace with diamonds, that diamond is not worth the price you paid for it.
Oh, hell no.
Number one.
Because they won't give you nearly what you paid for it when you liquidate it.
And then go down the road and try to sell it for something near the price you paid, and that will never happen.
No way.
It's the same thing with gold. Now, people say it's a good investment. Gold is fine and went up in all these years and everything. But when it comes eventually, you have to turn the gold into money to be able to make transactions.
Right. But if the American dollar becomes worthless, like confetti, then what? How do you liquidate if the world economy goes kaput, how do you liquidate?
You can't eat gold.
How do you turn gold into groceries or shelter?
That's the problem.
Or clothes.
That's why paper money was invented in the first place.
Yeah, but before that you had wampum. You know.
Wampum, coins of some kind, gold coins. They were worth something.
Or people in ancient times traded livestock, right, and crops.
That's what it used to be. Everything was measured in, you know, your land, your livestock.
That's how marriages were. The bride's family had to pay a dowry.
Dowries
to the groom's family.
Dowries, yes. All that stuff.
But yeah, so it's like so much is in the mind, and people, the human beings are so easily brainwashed and conditioned. You know, and of course with the right-wingers, they practice Joseph Goebbels techniques. You know, the more you repeat a lie, the more people will accept it to be true.
Right.
The more often you repeat the same lie over and over again. But, what are you going to do? I can never be a psychologist, a shrink, because I cannot understand people at all. And there's got to, of course, the only logical explanation is the temptation going on from the forces of evil.
Well, yeah, the forces of evil block your mind from working properly. Yeah. That's the influence that he puts out there. He broadcasts these influences.
Because if you had a logical...
If your mind picks it up and allows it in, well, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a logical... If your logical, free-thinking mind was allowed to operate fully and clearly, I bet people wouldn't make stupid, asinine decisions like this. You know, like voting for a politician that is all for the rich. Of course, my aunt was... I had a argument with her. Well, not, I didn't have an argument with her. My mother was on the phone with her, and she and my conservative uncle, they're all right-wing conservatives, and they hate Obama. So they blame Obama for everything. And I was trying to tell her the real truth, and she don't want to accept it.
Of course not.
When I said Republicans are all for the rich, she says, "You're a liar. You're full of shit." Oh, really?
I mean, how much more proof do you need?
So what are they for? Are they for the little guy?
No.
You could have fooled me if they were for the little guy.
Hey,
you had me fooled.
Actions speak louder than words. Your aunt has got a lot of action that's been presented to her face in the last couple of years.
I have two.
She is obviously just shunting it aside or something because it's right out there.
I have two aunts and two uncles that are now retired, living on fixed incomes, that vote Republican and hate Obama. They probably hate Obama because they're racist. Because the first comment out of their mouth is race when he won the election.
Right.
So it's like, you know, I mean, and they won't accept the reality that the Republicans are all for the rich. Except one uncle, when he was younger and I was a kid, he told me, yeah, your grandfather's right. You know, the Republicans are all for the rich. And that's when my grandfather told me that if you vote in a Democrat, you'll get a few crumbs. If you vote for a Republican, you'll get absolutely nothing. And he was very right.
Yeah. Well,
he was very right about that.
Hey, that's how it was in this country up until FDR. And then after FDR, we went back into the same old mode.
Well, it's still two-party system. The reason why you got a few crumbs with a Democrat is because it's still within the two-party system. Now, if you take the money out of politics and you vote for a true progressive independent, and you have more of God's economics in place and less of, you know, the other diabolical crap, then you would have more fairness. But of course, the Democrat is the lesser of the two evils, but people shouldn't have to settle for the lesser of the two evils. American people should not have to settle for that. You know what I mean? But they have.
That's the pathology within politics itself.
And you settle for it because the money is still in politics. Got to get it out. Got to learn how to write in your candidate. Say so long.
So long.
Have a happy pagan holiday. have a safe one. We'll see you in the new year. Well, we'll see you most likely New Year's Eve. Yeah, what does that Old Lang Syne means?
Old Lang Syne.
That's like Erin go Bra during St. Patrick's Day. Erin go Braless.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, a 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored. That's all you need. Read it and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletters Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletters Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Mega Life 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.